Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be back with you here again. And we have game two of the Browns at the Yankees here. This doubleheader on May 22nd, 1949. Allie Reynolds will go to the mound for the Yankees, and he'll be up against Carl Drews. Here's Dick Kokos, the first hitter for St. Louis, and he promptly hits one into right field for a single, and he'll be the runner on at first base just like that. Up now is Jerry Pretty, and there's a ball in there to Pretty. 1-0 is the count. There we go. And next pitch comes down into him. Swung on a miss. 1-1 now the count on Jerry. And there's strike two inside. 1-2 now. And he just holds his swing on that good slider by Allie Reynolds. 2-2 now the count. Reynolds, 6.03 ERA. He's gone to ball three here. He has 23 walks, 14 strikeouts. Those walks have definitely contributed to that high ERA. There's one in the dirt, and that would have been ball four, but Jerry Pretty can't stop himself. He swings at it, and he strikes out. There's one away, and here is Jack Graham. One out here, top of the first, and there's a strike to Jack Graham, 0-0 score. A little ground ball over to Tommy Henrich. He throws over to second for one. Rizzuto throws back to Henrich at first, and not in time. Graham, who's kind of jogging up the line, able to beat that one out, and up now comes Whitey Platt. There's a strike in there to Whitey, and it's 0-1. There's a ball inside. 1-1 the count now to Whitey, and that's high. 2-1 the count on him. That's way inside. It's a 3-1 count on Platt, and there's a line single to right center field, and Graham goes all the way over to third base. Not quite sure how he made it that far. Runners on the corners now, first and third, with two outs, top of the first, and Sherm Lawler's up there. There's a strike in there to him. Les Moss is the day off because he's tired. 1-1 the count now on Lawler. That's fouled back. It's 1-2. And that one is just high. 2-2 the count now on him, and he hits that one over to right center field. Bauer goes back, and he's able to get there for the out. And we go to the bottom of the first inning. Here comes Hank Bauer. Carl Drews gets the start for the Browns on 3 days rest is all. 5.80 ERA. 1-1 now the count on Bauer, and he swings and misses at that one. It's 1-2. Let's hit back to the screen. 1-2 still. And that's too high. 2-2 the count, and that's low and outside full count now on Bauer, and that's way outside. And Hank Bauer goes to first base on the walk. That will bring up Jerry Coleman. So here comes Coleman, runner on at first base, and there's a ball in there to Jerry. 1-0 the count. And there's a little ground ball over to Drews, the pitcher, and he goes to Pretty at second for one, on to Graham at first for the double play. And here comes Tommy Henrich with nobody on. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. No score. 1-1 the count now on Tommy. There's a ball to him. It's 2-1, and that's a ball away. 3-1 is the count. And that's downstairs for ball four, and that'll bring up Gene Woodling. 15 balls now for Drews this season, and that was a ground ball hit by Woodling over to second base. Pretty had that through over to first base for the out, and we go to the top of the second. And it's Bob Dillinger up here for the Browns. Fouls one back. 0-1 is the count now on Bob. There's a little ground ball over to Bill Johnson, third base, and throws to first for the out, one away. Roy Sievers is up there, and he takes a ball low. 1-0 the count. That's hit foul. 1-1 is the count now on Sievers, and that's in the dirt. 2-1. And there's a swing and a miss of that one in the dirt. 2-2. Another foul ball. 2-2 the count remains. A little ground ball over to left side. Phil Rizzuto grabs that one, throws over to first, and just gets him for the out. 2 away here, top of the second. Still no score. Eddie Pellegrini hits a ground ball back to Allie Reynolds, who throws to first for the out. We go to the bottom of the second. Pretty quick going here. Cliff Mapes is up and promptly hits the first pitch he sees from Drews to center field, where Sievers has it for the out. 1 away, and it's Phil Rizzuto. And he takes a ball inside. Want to know the count on the scooter? 1-1 now. There's a strike. That late called strike. 1-2 the count. Ground ball over to short. Pellegrini has it. Throws to first. For the out. 2 away, and it's Bill Johnson. I think I called him Bob earlier. It should be Bill. Hard to remember. 1-1 is the count on Johnson, whatever your first name is, and that's a ground ball again to short. Pellegrini has it and goes to first with it. We go to the top of the third. Carl Drews up there, the pitcher now, who has 0 for everything, has a 1-1 count on him. 1-2 now is the count, and there's a breaking ball for strike 3. Reynolds had him easily. 1 away, and here is Dick Kokos. Kokos takes a ball. 1-0 is the count. That's lined over to left center field, and that's off of Woodling's glove, and Kokos will come all the way around to second base with a double, and that brings up Jerry Pretty. Runner on at second base with 1 out here for the Browns. Second hit of the game for Kokos, 2 times up. Here comes Pretty, who has a 2-0 count on him. And there's a fastball outside for a strike. 2-1, sorry, and that's in the dirt. 3-1 now the count. And that's inside, too far inside. Pretty takes ball 4, and he takes the stroll down to first base. That brings up now Jack Graham. Runners on at first and second. Graham with 6 home runs already this season. Pretty good for the early season. 2-0 is now the count on Jack. That's fouled away. 2-1 is the count. And there's a little ground ball over to Bill Johnson at third base, and that was very, very slowly hit. Johnson had to run up on that one, throws over to first just in time, and the runners move up. And here now is Whitey Platt with runners on at second and third. 2 outs, top of the third, no score. There's a ground ball over to Jerry Coleman. Second baseman has it and throws to first for the out. Routine play, and we go to the bottom of the third. Charlie Silvera up there. I mentioned last time he's in there for Yogi Berra. He has a 1-1 count on him here in the second game of the doubleheader. Fouled away. 1-2 is the count now on Charlie, and he hits a little ground ball over to the right side, and Pretty has that one for and throws to first for the out. There's one away, and here comes Allie Reynolds. Reynolds hitting 091. At least he has a hit, which is not more than what Carl Drews can say. 2-1 is the count now on Allie, and that's hit to the left field line just foul. It's 2-2. It's hit over to left center field, and that's into the gap, and that's going to be an easy double for Allie Reynolds. Imagine that. And the Yankees have their first hit. We've seen this happen a little bit in games recently where teams are being no hit, and then the first hit comes from the pitcher. Hank Bauer now comes up there, runner on at second, no score still. 2-0 now the count on Hank. Hitting 300 exactly. 3-0 the count on him, and that's strike outside. 3-1. And it's inside that time, full count, and he swings and misses at that offering from Carl Drews, and down he goes, 2 away, and here's Jerry Coleman. That ball is, first pitch is high to Coleman, and there's a swing and a miss in the second one. 1-1 the count now on Jerry, and that's inside for a ball, 2-1. And there's one off the target, 3-1 the count, and that is again off the target, and Coleman goes to first with the walk. 2 outs now, Tommy Henrik coming up, which is going to swing away, of course. 3 walks for Drew today. And the count now on Henrik is 2-0. And there's a ball hit over to center field. Severs is able to get there. I was about to say a base hit, but not quite. Severs is able to go over there and get that for the out, and that sends us to the top of the fourth. Still no score. Here is Sherm Lawler, and he takes a strike. 0-1 the count on Lawler, and there's a ground ball again to Bill Johnson at third, who makes the play and goes to first for the out. 1 away. More I see his name, more I will remember it. Up next, Bob Dillinger takes a ball and then fouls one off to the left side. 1-1 the count. That's fouled back, 1-2. Another one fouled off to the side this time, 1-2 still. And there's a fly ball over to center field. Cliff Mapes is there for it, and he makes the catch. 1 away. Roy Severs comes up and takes the strike. 0-1 the count. And there's another one in on the inside corner for a strike. It's 0-2. That one was too far inside. 1-2. As a pop-up over to, you guessed it, Bill Johnson, the third baseman, has that pop-up for the out. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It'll be Gene Woodling up, and he takes a ball. And another ball. 2-0 is now the count on Woodling, and there's a strike in the outside corner. It's 2-1. There's ball 3 way inside. It's fouled back to the backstop. It's a full count now on Gene. It's fouled away again. Full count remains. And that is high, up near his chin. Ball 4. 4 walks given up today by Carl Drews. And that'll bring up Cliff Mapes again. And the question is, so do you just swing away with him? Do you bunt? Mapes hitting 323 with a little bit of power. Well, of course, we're going to swing away with him. He could use a few more walks. I think on-base percentage is not quite as high as it could be, I would say. There's a 1-0 pitch, and there's a little ground ball over to Pellegrini. It's going to be good enough to let Woodling go up to second, and the throw goes to first for the out, 1 away. And here's Phil Rizzuto, who takes a ball. 1-0 is the count on him. And another ball. It's 2-0 on Phil Rizzuto. No score, bottom of the fourth. That's popped up and fouled. 2-1 is the count, and that's fouled back again. 2-2 now the count on Rizzuto, and that's outside. Full count on him. And there's one that bounces in the dirt, and Woodling bluffs but doesn't go. Rizzuto goes over to first base, and here comes Bill Johnson hitting a woeful 147. We'll have him bunt. And he pops up the bunt towards third base, and Dillinger has that for the out. Now there's 2 away. That's the last thing in the world you want to see happen. Up next is Silvera. Takes the ball low, 1-0 the count. I just talked the other day about bunting, and you seem to fail more often than you succeed. 2-1 now the count on Silvera. It's fouled back. It's 2-2 now on Charlie, and that's fouled back again. 2-2 the count remains, and it's off the plate and for a ball, full count now, and there's ball 4 high, and so he walks, and that'll bring up Allie Reynolds. Drews may have been pitching around Silvera, and there's a ball there to Allie Reynolds, who's already 1 for 1 today, and there's a strike to him. Another strike down the pipe, 1-2 the count, and there's a ground ball over to Jerry Pretty, the second baseman, who goes to first with it, and we go to the top of the fifth, still scoreless here at the stadium. Pellegrini up there takes a strike, 0-1. And there's a ground ball to the right side. Henrik has it, goes to first by himself for the out, one away. Carl Drews now hits one over again to the right side. Ali Reynolds this time goes off the mound and gets it and flips over to Henrik for the out, 2 away just like that. And here's Dick Kokos. There's a strike one to him, backdoor slider, and then a ball. 1-1 the count on Kokos. Lined over to first base, and Henrik jumps up, leaps up, makes a great catch, and gets it for the out. And we go to the bottom of the fifth just like that. It's Hank Bauer. Bauer takes a strike and another strike. It's 0-2 on him. That's fouled straight back. 0-2, the count remains. A little ground ball down to first base, and Graham grabs that and goes to the bag himself. 1 away. Jerry Coleman now comes up, and that is inside for a ball, and outside that time for ball 2-0 the count. 2-1 is that just caught the outside corner, and there's ball 3 to Coleman. 3-1 the count, and that's hit up the middle for a base hit, and it's a clean single, number 2 of the game for the Yanks. And that brings up Tommy Henrik. Henrik, we're going to have swing away, but he doesn't have much of an ability to bunt anybody over. He takes a ball, and there's a throw to first, nothing doing. Another throw to first, doesn't really matter. Next is a ball in the dirt, and it's 2-0 on Henrik, and a walk would actually help a lot here. It's hit over to left field. Platt slips one way, slips the other, and then looks up and makes the catch. 2 gone, and it's Gene Woodling with that runner still on first base. And Gene fouls one off the catcher shin guards, 0-1 the count. And there's a ball inside on him, 1-1. And that's another ball to him, 2-1. And there's that ground ball over to Graham, who will hit the first baseman Drews, covering at the bag. And look at that, we're already up in the top of the 6th inning. No score. Jerry Pretty comes up now for the Browns. He takes the ball, and there's another ball high. 2-0 the count now on Jerry. And there's a strike, and there's 2-1. It's fouled away, 2-2 now the count. And that slider's in the dirt, and it will be a full count. And Pretty can't hold up, and he swings at that next one and strikes out. That's number 3 recorded by Reynolds. Jack Graham up there now, and he throws a ball high, and another one high. 2-0 the count. There's a ground ball over to Bill Johnson, and he can only knock that one down, and that ate him up, and that's going to be error number 2 of the season on him. And so with one out here in the top of the 6th, here comes Whitey Platt with a runner on at first. And there's a strike on the outside edge, 0-1 the count. And there's that slider at the belt. It's 0-2 now on Platt. That's poked foul. 0-2 the count remains. That's fouled away again. And boy, there's one that is hit straight over at Phil Rizzuto. He goes to second base himself and then on to Henrik for the double play. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. This has been a real classic, hasn't it? The last game between these two teams, not so much. Cliff Mapes up there is taking 2 straight balls. 2-0 is the count, and he swings and misses at a pitch that was out of the strike zone, 2-1. And there's a ground ball that goes over the head of Drews on over to Pellegrini. The shortstop makes the stop, throws over to first base, but not in time, and Mapes is aboard. They're not going to give him an error. They'll say that that's a base hit, and that brings up Phil Rizzuto. Now, you know we're going to try to run with Mapes, but not right away. There's a strike to Rizzuto. Let's try now. There goes Mapes for second, and he is thrown out, and that may have been a little bit too aggressive from me. We could have had Rizzuto bunt instead. They were looking for the bunt. I thought with the excellent running, very good stealing would be okay, but that's the first time that Mapes has been thrown out this season, 3 for 4 in the stolen base department. And now Rizzuto, nobody on, takes a ball, 1-2 the count, and it's 2-2. That one was low. Check swing just fouled away, 2-2 the count remains, and that's fouled away again, 2-2. There's a little ground ball to Pretty, the second baseman, throws to first for the out, 2 away, and it's Bill Johnson. Johnson takes a strike, outside corner, and there's a ball just 2 wide, and there's a ground ball over to second base, and that's straight over at Pretty, who throws to first for the out, and Johnson's bat exploded into all sorts of little pieces, so he's going to have to pit those back together or figure something out before he's up again. We go to the top of the 7th. It's Sherm Lawler up there, and he takes a strike and then a ball and another strike. 1-2 the count now on Lawler. A little ground ball to Tommy Henrik. First baseman grabs it and goes to the bag himself for the out. 1 away. Bob Dillinger up there now takes the ball. And then a strike. 1-1 the count now on Dillinger. And that's off the plate. 2-1 is the count on Bob. And there's a pop-up, just foul. Johnson can't get to it. 2-2 now. Top of the 7th, no score. And that 2-2 pitch is hit over to the left side, and that's past the diving Rizzuto for a base hit to left field. That'll bring up Roy Sievers now. Runner on at first base, 1 out, top of the 7th, no score. Sievers takes a ball, and another ball low. 2-0 is the count on him, and that's hit over the right field alley, and Mapes goes over trying to cut that one off, and he can't. He's able to get to it in time, though, to prevent Dillinger from scoring, but that'll make it runners on at second and third with only one out here in the top of the seventh. And we're going to intentionally walk Pellegrini. There we go, and we'll have to make them decide, with the computer decide what he wants to do with Carl Drews. We are going to pull the infield in here, kind of have to, and there's that single that goes straight in through the middle of the drawn-in infield for a base hit. Mapes comes up with it over in center field, and here comes the throw home, trying to stop Severs from scoring. And he does. He just is able to slide past Silvera, and that allows Pellegrini and Drews to advance another base. 2-0 now Browns, and there's runners on at second and third. Still only one out, and here is Dick Kokos. So Ali Reynolds having a little bit of bad luck. He's only given up 6 hits today and 2 runs. 1-1 now the count on Kokos. That's in tight. It's 2-1. That's hit over to left field, and that's going to be a base hit, and that will drive in both runs. And Kokos now is 3 for 4 today. Kind of a quiet 3 for 4 until that single to score 2, and that'll bring up Jerry Pretty. 4-0 the game. And there's a strike in there to Pretty, 0-1. That's high. 1-1 now the count on Jerry, and that's in there for a strike, 1-2. And that's down and away, and that is in the zone. They call that strike 3. Pretty strikes out. 2 away. Strike on number 4 for Reynolds, and that'll bring up Jack Graham. Takes a ball high and outside, and that's hit over to right field, and that baby's gone. Bauer went back, was looking up for it, tried to do what he could to catch it, and there was no chance, and it's 6-0 St. Louis. That'll bring up Whitey Platt. We're going to let Reynolds in here for one more out, and that's it. 2-0 the count on Platt. There's ball 3. It's 3-0 on him, and there's the strike finally. 3-1 the count, and the fans are booing, and that's a base hit to left center field. And I don't think we can stop the bleeding much, or we can keep bleeding much longer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the correct team first and put somebody or other in. Joe Page, Spec Shea will come on in this situation. And we're going to make a double switch, so we're going to put the third baseman Bobby Brown in this game. As much as I hate to have to put Bobby Brown in this game, we have to make a pitching change. Man, 9 hits now for the Browns, and that 2-run homer just sort of sucks the life out of you. 1-1 the count now on Sherm Lawler. That's up high, 2-1. And, boy, there's one dribbled out in front of the plate. Silvera has that one and tries to pick it up, and he can't, and he drops it, and that advances Platt to second, Lawler over to first. That's pretty impressive for a little dribbler that just barely stopped in front of the catcher. And now with 2 outs, that brings up Bob Dillinger here for the Browns, and there's a base hit to right field, and that's going to score at least 1. Here comes that throw to the plate trying to get Platt, and now he scores, and we have runners on, or the Browns rather have runners on at first and second, and it's Roy Severs. They have scored 7 runs in this inning. There's a strike to Severs, 0-1 the count, and there's another strike, it's 0-2. Fouled out of play, count remains 1-2, and that's inside, just misses, 2-2 the count, 1-2, I'm sorry. And that one is hit straight over to Bauer in right field, and he has it for the out. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. 7 runs in that inning for the Browns. Man, oh man, I think they had 7 hits too. Charlie Silvera takes a ball, and then another ball. 2-0 the count on Charlie. 2-1 as he fouls that one back. And that's hit over to left field. Platt has that one hit right at him, and there's one away. And now it's Bobby Brown. Brown hitting .232, and we probably should really be starting him at third again, I'm guessing. And he gets he hits the ball over and down on the ground over to the right side. Graham, the first baseman, tries to reach it, can't, and then Pretty goes and finds it. And Graham is in really, really bad situation. He tried to go for that ball instead of going back to the bag. And you have to wonder what happened here. I mean, I'm trying to envision this in my mind, and I think really the problem was not with Graham as much as it was with Drews. Whatever it was, that was pretty ugly, and it's kind of surprised that Brown gets a base hit out of that one. Up next, Hank Bauer takes the ball, and then another ball high, 2-0 the count. That's inside for ball 3, 3-0. Is this the comeback starting? And that's down and in. That's ball 4. Walk number 7 given up by Drews. No runs given up at 7 walks already. That's a pretty impressive feat. Up next is Jerry Coleman. Takes a ball low, 1-0 the count, and that's fouled back. 1-1 the count now on Jerry. That's head up over to the middle, and that's going to be an easy double play. That goes Pellegrini over to Pretty, and then on to Graham at first. And we go to the top of the 8th inning. Here is Eddie Pellegrini for the Browns, who takes the ball 1-0. That foul ball was hit by him. 1-1 now the count that just missed being a base hit. And there's a 2-1 count after that ball. Ground ball over to Phil Rizzuto at short. Throws to first for the out. 1 away. Carl Drews is now the hitter, and he takes the ball. 1-0 is the count on him. And there's a fastball strike in the inside corner. It's 1-1. That one's hit over to Rizzuto, the shortstop, who squares himself away. Throws to first for the out. 2 away. Here's Kokos, who's 3 for 4, really the star of the game, and the count on him is 2-0, and that misses low and away. 3-0 is the count on him. There's the strike, it's 3-1, and that's low and inside. So Spec Shea having a hard time with it, giving up his first walk. Kokos always seems to be on base, and up next is Jerry Pretty, who takes the strike. 0-1 the count, and there's a ball to him, 1-1. That's another ball inside, 2-1 now the count on Pretty, and there's a strike, 2-2. And there's a pop-up over to who's got that one. Silvera actually ends up grabbing that for the out. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. And here is Tommy Henrik. Henrik takes the ball high. 1-0 the count. And there's a strike. 1-1 now the count on Tommy. It's inside, just misses. 2-1 is the count on him. And that's pulled deep to right field, but Coco's able to go back and get that one for the out. 1 away, and it's Gene Woodling time. He hits the ground ball over to the right side through the whole 4-base hit. That'll bring up Cliff Mapes now, the runner on at first base. Maybe something happening. 5 hits now for the Yankees. Mapes is 1 for 3, and he takes another ball. 2-0 the count, and there's one hit over and off to the third base side. Foul. 2-1. That's just outside. 3-1 now the count on him, and that's dumped over behind first base. Fair ball, and Mapes has a long single as Woodling goes over to third. Here now comes Phil Rizzuto. The Yankees can score runs, and they can do so when you don't expect it. Bottom of the 8th inning, 1 out, runners on at first and second. 2-0 now the count on Rizzuto, and he fouls one back. 2-1. And there's one outside and low, 3-1 the count. There's a pop-up over to Platt in left field, who grabs that for the out. 2 away, and it's Spec Shea, actually, the pitcher, and he pops one up over to Graham, the first baseman. And we go to the top of the 9th inning. Jack Graham coming up over there, and this is where you're trying to balance. Do we want to use a bunch of pitchers, or do we just want to say this game's over? 2-1's the count now on Graham, and that's high and tight. 3-1. There's a foul ball. Full count now on Jack. And he's rung up after that one on the check swing. First strikeout for Spec Shea. 1 away, and here's Whitey Platt. That's inside for a ball on Whitey, and another ball inside, low and away, 2-0 the count. 2-1. As that one was on the outside edge. 3-1 as that just missed. There's a half swing, but that pitch was called a strike. Full count now on Platt, and that's on the inside corner for strike. 3-2 away. Spec Shea starting to wake up. Sherm Lawler up there now takes the ball. And there's a strike. 1-1 the count, and that's wide for ball 2. 2-1. There's a ground ball over to Rizzuto. Shortstop has it, and he goes to first for the out. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and it's going to be Silvera up there now, Charlie Silvera for the Yankees. 0 for 2 today, and he's had a lot of 0 for something games. 2-1 now the count on Silvera, and he fouls that one back. It's 2-2, and that pitch inside just off the plate, just off the plate is right. Full count, and there's the ground ball over to Pellegrini, the shortstop, who goes to first for the out. 1 away. Bobby Brown now, third baseman, didn't start there, takes the strike. There's a little dribbler over to who was that too? It's in front of the plate, and Lawler ends up grabbing that one, throws over to first base. The call a little bit slow in coming, and boy, that's really interesting. He ends up running out of the baseline of all things. And so we've had a couple of interesting plays here. This is kind of a rare play, though. So they end up calling Brown out for running too far out of the baseline on his way to first. I'm not quite sure what prompted that and why he was running so far out of the line. Kind of hard to make a mental image is the problem that we're running into, but at any rate, there's 2 away now, bottom of the 9th, 7-0 Browns. There's a ball to Hank Bauer, and another ball. 2-0 is the count. Ground ball over to shortstop. Pellegrini has that and goes to first, and just not in time. Bauer's called safe, and here will be Jerry Coleman. Coleman hit a double play last time. 1-0 is the count on him now. And that's inside, right at the knees. 1-1 now. That's way too far inside. 2-1 the count. And there's ball 3, 3-1 on Coleman. And there's a ground ball over to Pellegrini, who flips over to Pretty, the second baseman, for the out. And that is all she wrote. Browns win this one pretty easily, 7-0. It was an exciting game until the 7th, and they are in 7th heaven now. And I hope that you've had a good day. I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.